You're listening to the Main Event Moto podcast.
What's up, Motoheads? It's your boy, producer Joe Gallo. DB is still in Arlington, Texas, but we're going to get him on the phone in just a second. Before we do, though, I got to thank these dope-ass sponsors: Fly Racing, Mika Metals, Motosport.com, Scott USA, No Toil, Guts Racing, our boy Andy Gregg, shout out, EMT Racing, Blenzall, All American Chevy of Killeen, Old Me Creations, and of course, DRS Suspension with Race Tech. All right, let's get the man on the phone, get this show on the road.
What's up, bro?
Howdy. Do I got to say howdy because you're down there?
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy.
I've been here 1, 2, 3, 4 days now. So yeah, I'm going to need you to talk to me a little bit different. My name is Aaron Plessinger.
Have you bought a
how about our boy AP? How about our boy AP winning this heat race?
Bro.
Hillbilly as can be on the podium, dude. I got my pregnant wife at home.
Top five.
I thought he was going to spit his dip out.
Yo, top five, right?
Yeah,
son of a
the night
bitch.
And a heat race win, dude.
I lost that on our little fantasy, man. I said nah. I said he ain't getting that.
You unfaithful fools. I said he was. I went against the grain.
And I know, and you did that, and like, did you have a feeling he was going, or were you just going to be different on purpose?
I knew he'd get fifth.
Wow.
No, I didn't know that, dude. I just wanted to be different, and I like Aaron, and dude, see, that's the thing people need to realize with me, and they don't get it because I throw a lot out there. A lot of the things I throw out there, I want to happen. That's what I want to happen.
I do that too, but it never pans out.
Well, you're a hater. You should have been hating on AP, dude.
I know. I was just going with the.
He can fly. He was good though, dude. He was thick again, and yeah, he gets fifth, but the heat race win was so dope. And his podium interview, man, he just makes me smile.
I got nervous when he got the heat. I got nervous. I was like, "Oh, is this guy really going to do this again?" Yeah,
he's good, dude.
Yeah,
he was good, but no, I've been here a couple days. Dude, you're gonna love this. So you know how somehow my rental car issues have become like a theme on this show. So I get here and I Ubered because it was late at night. So the next morning I go to get my vehicle and I get a call from the Enterprise. And they're like, Mr. Blair, so we ran out of cars and we have either a minivan or a pickup truck available. And I'm like, oh, I want the pickup truck. Like I just, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know like what I was getting, but dude, I got some like ranch version. Have you heard of this?
Is it a King?
F-150?
Is it the King Ranch?
Is that what it is? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
F-150 King Ranch.
Yeah, you're pimping.
Dude, this thing is nice, bro.
It is, yeah.
So I've been just cruising around Texas with my truck.
That a boy.
Yeah. Almost had Whataburger last night, but I chickened out at the last minute and got Sonic. And had a Reese's Blast and some mozzarella sticks.
Now, why did you chicken out on Whataburger?
I don't know.
You felt like you'd be disloyal to your soil if you got that?
Yeah, because I get in arguments with people about Whataburger versus In-N-Out, and I felt like I didn't want to know if it was good, because then if it is, I'll internally feel weird. So I'm just going to continue believing that it's trash and never find out. And to be fair, they don't have Reese's Blast.
Oh, that's a good point.
I did that. Actually, that wasn't last night because this is now Monday. That was Saturday night after the races. And it's been a good trip though so far. Tiring for some reason. I don't know if I don't know why, but I feel like I'm working harder on this one. I've been a lot busier. Even like today, I had a kind of interesting day. We could call it, but just more tired on this one for some reason. Yeah. I don't know why. I just had maybe it's because Daytona was I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely running the tanks a little low early in the week. So weird.
It was good to see Blair's breakdown back.
Yeah, I was back, and it was a good one. Response has been good. You know what I like about that show is it just allows me to be me more, and I think that people are digging that because I see fans on there like, dude, this show is so sick, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I think that a lot of those fans maybe don't listen to this podcast because everyone listening to this knows me. Like I'm pretty, I'd say I'm 90% me on this show. There's a few things I have to hold back on, but for the most part, Joe, on Main Event Moto, I'm me, and everyone here knows that. But there's a lot of new people that are watching that I don't think listen to the podcast, and they're getting to see me get to act like myself more, which is, honest and opinionated and out there. And I'll throw some things out that I feel that are probably pretty off sometimes, but I just, I'm prideful of my ability to throw out what I want to throw out, and even if it's silly most of the time. So that show's been fun, and it was good to be back, and we'll be doing them out at the rest of them. So we're good.
Well, there's something about it for sure, bro, because, you and I talk every day, and I look forward to the Blair's Breakdown, even though I could call you anytime and get that information. But there's something about that show that's endearing because, even your boy looks forward to it. That's
cool.
That's
well,
rare.
Thank you very much. I'm glad. Yeah, it's cool that you don't watch the Madera Supercross on Main Event Moto's Instagram, YouTube, yet you're going to watch Blair's. I appreciate that.
I watched it, damn it, for the last time. I did watch it.
I'm trying to think of how to screw you right now with a trivia question, but I don't remember it either. So, but yeah, no, it's cool. And I like doing them. They are tiring though, because you guys got here's what happens after the race. So you all know this will really make it all understandable timeline wise. The races get over, and we do this like post-race show for NBC with me and Will and Lee and Ricky and Todd and Ricky this week or today, whenever you're listening to this. And it takes, a little bit of time because we have to get some replays ready. We do our thing. And then what I normally will do is like do the first half of Blair's Breakdown, then jam up and do the press conference, then come back down and do the second half. But if timing works out and I can pull it, I can sometimes get it done before I do the press conference. So by the time I'm done, because the press conference is an hour after the races, that thing's 45 minutes. So I'm at least an hour and 45 after the races before I even like start walking to my truck, to my King Ranch. So it's like, it's at the end of the day, I'm wiped out, I'm tired, but I look forward to it because it's like, I get to just be me. I'm not really performing like I do on Race Day Live or TV, where I'm having to like perform for anybody. I'm performing just for the fans on that one. So it's more like Main Event Moto, where like the effort is different because it's just more natural. I don't pre-produce. I don't think about anything. I just literally say, hey, let's go. And I just think out loud, which is what I do on Main Event Moto. Have you seen me prepare for Main Event Moto in years? I don't. I just,
it's all in your head.
Well, it's all in our head and our heart. We just say what we're thinking. And that's, I think, why people like it. So again, as tiring as it is at the end of the day, it is my chance to just get my thoughts out. And it would be way worse if I was having to like script and like plan and whatever. But the fact that he just, Shane just presses record and we just walk and talk, it's almost like my way of decompressing the night. And it's good. Then I go home and go to the hotel and lay on my phone for 4 hours and can't sleep. So,
did you talk to McGrath that night?
Yeah, I did. He walked up to me and said, hey, I really appreciate what you do on the broadcast. And I was like, can I get my phone out? Can you say that again? I need to record that so I could keep that. So in case I'm ever having a bad night,
yes.
I remember that the King actually knows my name. So I did. And here's the funny part too, is after the races were done, Cameron McAdoo comes walking up to me and he's like, yo, bro, where's Blair's Breakdown? When are you doing it? And I was like, You watch that? And he had his girlfriend with him, Maddie, salute. And they're like, oh yeah, we watch it every Sunday and you haven't done the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, what's up, homie? You kind of want to hear what I say about you? Is that what you're he's like, well, yeah, but hey, I'm here. Can I do it with you? And I was like, well, I'm doing it right now. And he's like, oh, I can't, because he was doing Science of Supercross with McGrath. So
yeah, while
we're doing the breakdown, him and McGrath are over doing their thing, like one straightaway over. So it was kind of cool to like just like doing my thing, and every time I look over there, there's McGrath. He's over there in the stadium, and I don't know. I'm still weirded out by that, and it's crazy because Ricky was the same way for me in the beginning, but now he's not because he's like my friend. So Ricky now is like, "What up, bro?" And it's like usually some shit talking or whatever. Where I still see Jeremy, and I don't know him. Like I don't. So when I see him, it's still weird for me a little bit.
Yeah,
and,
totally understandable.
But he was there, dude. I think he's going to be tomorrow, and I think he's coming on Race Day Live tomorrow. So that'll be sick if it follows through. I think it's happening.
Dope.
Yeah, bro.
That is cool.
So what'd you think of the Kenny Cooper thing? I don't really know how to break this down, I guess, all the way, but
I know how.
You know, Kenny, then you do it for me, man. Just take it. Where do you take this one?
You know, it's funny because you're actually the one who called it last week when you said, next week, watch, nothing's going to happen between them. And that's exactly what happened.
They couldn't have been further apart. I don't think they were anywhere near each other at any time.
It's a non-issue. It's like we all made it something more for the fun of it. But when the rubber met the dirt, nothing actually transpired between the two of them.
Well, okay, let me ask you this, though. Nothing transpired between them, like, together, but do you still feel that the results on paper still are kind of a reaction to the talk? Because one guy had his worst ride of the season, and the other guy had his easiest win of his career.
Man, hey, so I said it. Don't play this game, Kenny. This is not your lane, bro.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you heard this, but in the press conference, someone asked Cooper if he's like, hey, you know, with all this stuff being talked and the media hyping it up, does this bother you? Does it weigh on you? Do you think about it? And Cooper's like, nah, man, I love this shit.
Exactly.
And it's like, when he said that, I was like, yeah, he does.
He does.
He actually really does. I feel like I think he couldn't have been happier all week. Like that all of a sudden the focus is on this stuff. You know, he's just like a cage fighter, dude. It's like, oh, you want to fight?
It's just like, oh, hell yeah.
That's what I do. So
you don't want to chum those waters, bro.
But I know,
you get shark bit.
Well, and he did, and Kenny did, and like I said, it's almost an unfair run for Kenny because he goes down in the heat. He's got this, somehow lucks into this good gate pick, but the gate was bad. The rut was trash. I went and did a little report on it, and so for Kenny, it's almost like he didn't even get a chance to fight. He had a bunch of weird shit happen. So
yeah,
maybe tomorrow he can bounce back and like fight back.
I have a feeling that there might be a good battle tomorrow night.
I do too. I actually have a feeling that Kenny's going to win Tuesdays.
Oh boy.
No, and here's why, because the speed is still there.
Sure.
The starts are typically still going to be. He'll figure this out. He's got the skill, and I bet you now he's probably more on the frustrated mad side. So I have this feeling like he's going to bounce back. And just kind of this ain't over. I mean, I could even see his Instagram. This ain't over, something like that. And Coop will probably get second and third and just be like, whatever. Like,
yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
There's six more, bro. Like,
yeah,
you can't hang for six. Which, I mean, we'll see, right? Like, that's what makes this fun. Is like, let's go. Or Cooper just wins again and it's just over.
So
Cooper might ruin this whole damn series for us from here on out, dude. He might ruin it.
I know, right? I hope
but at least we got El Hombre to make things fun.
We'll get to that in a second. With 6 remaining, you on Blair's Breakdown made a very bold statement, man. You let it all hang out regarding number 3.
Well, you mean number 3, as in that's what he'll be next year?
Are with 6 left, are you still just like, there's no way, it's donezo? I
mean, honestly, Joe, I've been dancing around. Okay, here's what I've been feeling this way for about 5 races, and you can read through my speech. I've been being gentle about my delivery for 2 reasons. Number 1, I didn't want to be too aggressive and just say it's over. And then we're talking Tomac here. And also, too, I just wanted to kind of save myself a little just in case, right? I didn't want to go all the way in and then the full rings off 3 wins. But I've felt this way since Indy, probably middle of Indy, that it's over. And I said on the show my exact feelings, which is that edge, that desperate, that extra that he had isn't there. And the reason why, in my opinion, is because he got it. And you know what I mean? You go through all that hell. Dude, he went through hell, especially from the media side, just reminding him every week what he can't do. And then he gets it done. And I just think he's just like, oh, I got it. And that feeling of relief is enough to move the number 1 guy to 3rd. And Kenny and Cooper have elevated this year a little bit, I'd say. So, yeah, it is over. I don't think he wants to take the chances necessary to run with 2 dudes who are all in. And I said it on Blair's Breakdown. I'm fine with that. I mean, aren't you? Don't you think after everything he's been through and everything he's won, like you're cool with him maybe taking a bow and waving to the fans and saying, I'm done with this.
Stellar.
That's how I feel.
Stellar career. I mean, yeah, of course, I'm cool with that. Not that my opinion matters one way or the other what he does, but yeah, I mean, it's a great career. Something
like I respect.
He could hang his hat on this career. It's all good. Yes,
exactly.
And when he walks away, everybody has nothing but respect for the guy.
Exactly. That's how I feel. That's why, again, I'm not supporting this. I respect him for what he has done. And regardless of the outcome here or next year, or maybe I'm wrong and he signs and rides 5 more years. I don't know. I respect him. He has accomplished everything, but I just don't think he's willing to risk it for the biscuit. Like we said a few shows back, I don't think he's willing to take those chances and ride to that top end crazy speed anymore because he got what he wanted.
Sure.
And, Kenny doesn't have his yet. And Cooper just, I think he's just got that chip, and I think Cooper will be the type like Ricky or Villapoto. Cooper will probably retire after a title. He'll win a title someday in 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then I'm out. Like, I don't think he'll just ride it out. You know what I mean? I think he's too crazy, weird, stubborn, competitive for that. Where Eli, again, I think he just exerted it all, and he's just like, I'm cool. And that's cool with me. But yeah, championship's over. Done. Like, firm done. I'm not dancing no more. It's done.
Speaking of letting it all hang out, what is your boy's El Hombre's problem with my guy Dylon? Why has he got to beat him up like that?
Dude, don't even go there. Don't even go there. There was nothing wrong with that. You know there's nothing wrong with that, Joe. You take your loyal glasses off. That was fine. And
so
don't forget,
dirty.
Too. No, shut the heck. Are you kidding me? That coming from the guy who literally almost killed Christian Craig.
He didn't even touch Christian. That was a love tap.
No, he didn't. His bike did at about Mach 6. No, listen, I don't even know how you can even say this. El Hombre is your guy too. So what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing here?
I was like, finally some action. And I was like, oh no, you're torn. You're like, damn it, but cool.
Finally some aggression. Oh no,
that's cool. Oh hell no.
Yeah. So no, Dylon hit the turf. That's one of those ones that reminded me of the Faulkner Hampshire one, but obviously Faulkner went down in that one. But dude, Hombre said it on the podium. I'm not gonna sit behind these dudes anymore. And the truth is, man, is he had a rough start to the season because he was like in 8th place, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I think he realized, like, look, everyone's flying, can't pass. I'm not waiting anymore. And I'm just, whatever, y'all can deal. I mean, I can tell you right now, did you hear on Blair's breakdown? I kind of hinted what Jason said after I walked away from him from the podium. Like, he really is NFG. Like, it ain't an act. He said, I ain't waiting for anybody anymore. And I think he's just like probably sick of people saying, hey, what's going on with Henderson? What's going on with Henderson? I think he's just sick of that. So he's just like, I'm done with that. Like,
I would be too. Unfortunately, it only took 10 rounds for you to get sick of it, bro.
Well, better now than never. Never better than going through a whole season and everyone going, what happened to Henderson this year? At least, I mean, hey, you got to correct course at some point. I mean, and you know this, Joe, you know this too. This sport has the shortest term memory of all time. If Anderson rides this way the rest of the year, no one will remember how bad his start of the season was. They'll just be like, dude, Anderson was sick in 21.
Yeah. Wow him in the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just start hitting them at the end, and everyone will be like, dude, Anderson's sick.
Well, I mean, Dylon couldn't take him down, and then, of course, the big one everybody's talking about was with Malcolm.
Yeah, his throttle stuck.
Malcolm couldn't take him down.
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on there. I'm not 100% sure, but
that looked like an act of vengeance on Malcolm's part, bro.
No. An attempted act of vengeance because it didn't work at all.
No.
I mean, so bad that Jason probably for the next 10 seconds was like, what was that?
What happened back there?
What happened? Like, did someone... Was that a lapper?
That was That was an epic backfire. I mean, like, props to Malcolm for giving it a try. I like the effort.
Oh, I mean, you and I are both. See, I'm more publicly drama, and you're more privately drama. But you love the spice. And Malcolm going in there, I mean, I was like, yeah. The problem is, though, dude, is Malcolm smacked the ground. Like he cracked. It was pretty violent on the concrete.
Yeah, when he rolled and then kind of smashed into the barrier, like it did not look fun.
So it was one thing to like try to throw it back like that, but dude, like you could have got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a harder hit, and he's like got a concussion. You know what I mean? So you got it. That's why you have to control yourself, Malcolm, and then hit him in the next corner.
It's true. It's true.
You were too impatient. You needed to wait till the next bowl corner, bro. You weren't there.
Wait for your spot.
But Malcolm blows that because he loses a bunch of points, and he could have been fifth in points, but now AP is fifth in points, dude. AP is fifth in points, man. I'm blown away. I'm blown away by that story.
Yeah,
AP's
me too.
Killing it. And I'll just throw this out there. Do you remember the last rider who, was riding on a blue bike and, it wasn't really working out. And then he went to another color bike and they kind of were like taking a chance on him. And then it kind of worked out. You kind of hear the story I'm telling?
Yeah. Cooper.
There might be a 2.0 version of that story. That's all I'm gonna say.
Man. That would be crazy.
Just what I heard. That's all. Just what I heard. Let's just say, for someone who was maybe on their way out, there's a lot of eyeballs on the old 7.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
And it might be one of those things where maybe Monster Energy Star Yamaha was like, yeah, we're not keeping him, to where maybe they might not be able to.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, and obviously that can all change. But if AP keeps on this trajectory, he'll be sought after. From what I understand, a couple places.
Nice.
So just keep your eye on number 7 this offseason. I think the value's gone up and the interest has gone from none to a lot.
That's
quick.
cool. Well, that's good to hear because he's fun to watch and he's a fun personality, and I think he's great for the sport.
I do too, 100%. Let's go 250 real quick. What do you think of this kid?
I love the 250s right now, dude. They're so much fun.
They're so wild, dude. They're so wild.
There's a bunch of wild boys out there.
What do you think of the old Haymaker?
Haymaker's cool, man. I think his style is really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's like a little tight ball, dude. He's like just a tight little muscular ball. It's weird because he doesn't look like Villapoto, but he kind of, maybe it's just me and it's probably just a weird thing that I thought of that I just can't let go. But I kind of see this little Villapoto style where he's like kind of small and he rides tight and his elbows are a little down. If you're all watching tomorrow or so, just watch him and tell me if you're seeing the same thing. I might not be even seeing what I'm saying, but I saw him go by and I was like, yeah, it looked like little Villapoto, and it kind of stuck. So it looks like a young Villapoto to me a little bit, just his style. And dude, when you hole shot and win your heat, hole shot and win the main, you're legit. I don't care what. That's a
statement.
It is a statement. That's a statement. Like, I'm arrived. I'm here.
Yeah.
So does he do it on Tuesday? I don't know. Dude, he's a rookie. He could fall and get 8.
That's what's fun about this class right now.
Oh, I know. Hey, are you surprised Hunter Lawrence is like kind of figuring this out pretty quick?
No, I'm not, but I liked what you said on Blair's breakdown, how you said he is not Jet, he's his own man. And he's coming into his own style.
Mm-hmm. It's different, right? When you watch him, you're like, that's not Jet. Like, I know they're on a Honda, they got Alpine Star, like whatever, and you see a little bit of the posture the same, but they're just different to me. They're so different to me, but wow, Hunter was on the podium, I think, before Jet ever did.
Oh.
He got it in his 5th race, or did Jet get it on his 5th race? Remember, Jet got it in Salt Lake last year. So he might have gotten his first podium right when Jet did, right around the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. Now they're different age. One's 21, one's 17. So there's a different age, but let's just be honest. Supercross is natural for Jet, very natural. And it's not as natural for Hunter. He's having to work at it harder, but it's working. Dude, you don't get second in the Supercross if it's not working. So I'm I'm impressed by him, man. And I kind of, he's actually even weirdly, like I would say sneaky in this championship, because I don't know if I trust McAdoo all the way yet. I mean, do you? I mean, he looks really good, but he's been pretty loose most of the years. Like, you know what I mean? Like I still have a little bit of wonder. And then Justin Cooper, I don't know what the heck he's got going on. He should be winning all these, but he just can't get a start, which is weird. But Hunter is quietly kind of in this title because he gets good starts. He's very quiet. He's efficient, and he doesn't really blow it, at least to this point. So I'm just throwing it out there, dude. Hunter Lawrence is in this thing in a weird way. He is actually in this thing, and dude, Lucas Bertel would. Oh my God! I'll tell you what. If he pulls it off, if Hunter Lawrence pulls it off, find Lucas Myrtle and just hang with him that night, because you will have the time of your life. Trust me. Like him, when his guys have a good night, he has a good night. If one of these fools wins the title, just latch on for the night, dude. Just go where he goes, and you will have a good time.
I have no doubt.
He loves his boys, and then Hunter looked good, dude. Hunter looked good. Did you like that battle with Justin Cooper and McAdoo? It was short lived, but that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's what you love to see, right?
Yeah, in lap traffic too. So they were like having to like stuff each other through lap traffic. And then Justin Cooper obviously goes in for the he looked like a baseball player slide into home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like, I'm going in there, and just laid it over. Like, dude, had perfect form, perfect washout form. But,
yeah.
But are you, Joe, obviously you know enough about Cooper over the last 2 years. Are you kind of surprised? Like that he's like you got Hammaker, this rookie, you got McAdoo who's emerging, Hunter, but shouldn't Justin Cooper be winning these? Like,
I am surprised. We all, I think, agree that he was basically a shoe-in.
Yeah, the only other guy would have been J-Mart, but we were pretty much like J-Mart or Cooper.
Yeah, yep. That was
the previous
show.
But you know who was not about Justin Cooper was Coach Rob. Remember, he was the one. He was like, I'm not seeing it. So that's a weird one, because he's to this point he saw something a little weird, and it's been kind of weird. So I don't know what he saw. We'll have to ask Coach Rob what it was that he saw, but he was not as on board with that.
That's a good point.
I think we all were, but I don't think he was. He might have been really high on Hunter, to be honest. So I don't. Well, I'll have to listen back, but I'm thinking Coach Rob might have been onto something.
I could go back through my notes and see. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, anyways, but
well, it's been good either way. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So here's what we're gonna do, Motoheads. I kind of had this plan, and it's gonna end up working a little bit better than I even thought. We did an amateur spotlight with Cameron McAdoo over the summer, and I loved it. I love his story. I'm a big fan of these guys that don't have it right out of the gate. You know, they have to grind and earn it, and I love that story. Well, his podcast that we did with him was, I thought, incredible. Like I loved it. So I thought it would be good now on a night like tonight when I'm pretty wiped out. I gotta go to bed, dude. It's pretty late here. And I'm thinking, you know what? Let's just do a quick review, you and I, but then let's take a commercial break. We'll come back and let's play that McAdoo interview again, because not everybody caught it, you know, because it wasn't one of our normal shows. So, Joe, you're going to cue that thing up, and we'll let everybody hear that interview from the summer and just give you a better idea on this kid. He's the points leader. He's got a 6-point lead. He's got a win on the season. And I just think it would be kind of cool to kind of revisit that conversation now, knowing that like 6 to 7 months later, this dude's leading the points. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Like listen to this interview and remember that this is last summer. This dude is now your points leader. And you're going to hear his story. You're going to hear him talk about like, you know, how slow he was in the beginning, and he wouldn't even go down the hill at the first race. His dad was mad. He wouldn't go down the hill, and you know, no one took him serious, and he was racing for money at local races. And you're going to hear all this, and then you're going to go, wow, wait, that's the guy leading the points? And when you hear that, I want you all to realize that there's multiple ways to make it in the sport. Obviously, the fun way is to be a dominating amateur and just be this hyped up kid your whole life and go right into the pros and have success. Of course, that's the dream. But as we've seen, that reality, Joe, hasn't been as much lately. it's these McAdoo stories that keep popping up over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And so listen to this interview with this kid and realize he went through all that. And he is now the points leader in Supercross and won Daytona. And I think it'll give you a little different perspective on this sport and the multiple ways that you can make it if your heart is in it, because that dude's heart is in it. So, yeah, Joe, good convo with you, though. And I guess I'll see you when I get back. Again, I'll be back one day later, so probably a week from now, Monday night, we'll get together. Maybe have Andy Gregg come in. I haven't heard from Andy in a while. Let's get Andy in. And we'll do a show when I get back from Arlington. Sound good?
Sounds good, baby boy.
All right, bro. Well, it's good to talk to you, and I'll catch you probably tomorrow.
Yeehaw!
All right, Motoheads. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you in a week.
Peace out.
Main Event Moto.
All-American Chevrolet in Killeen, Texas is a proud supporter of Main Event Moto and invites all the Motoheads to experience the difference for all of your Chevy sales and service needs. Mention Main Event Moto and get 50% off your next oil change and a front-end alignment at no charge. Remember, whether you're hauling your bikes to the weekend track, trail, or race, or commuting to the job that pays for your moto habit, we have the truck to get you there in style. Visit us online anytime at ChevyKilleen.com. That's All-American Chevrolet of Killeen. Chevy, find new roads.
Look good? Check. Protection? Check.
Fly Racing has had the gear game on lock for years, but the Formula helmet has taken Fly to another level. They didn't just make a high-quality helmet, they redefined the standard for the most important piece of safety equipment on a rider's body.
Use your head and protect your head. Run the Fly Formula helmet.
Then cover the rest of your body in Fly's Evolution and Kinetic gear lines.
Easy decision.
There's a reason I run DRS suspension and Race Tech hard parts with Mika Metal's chains, bars, and sprockets on Evans 65. First off, DRS suspension settings work everywhere. I haven't changed a clicker since I put them on. Maybe it's the internals from Race Tech that give it that extra something.
American-made products with a 100% guarantee. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, the DRS Race Tech combo works for me. And what can I say about Mika?
First off, they've been with us since the beginning.
The quality of their bars is top of the line, and Mika is the only chain and sprocket combo I run. Motoheads, get with the program. It's DRS suspension, Race Tech, Mika Metals.
Say it again.
It's DRS suspension, Race Tech, Mika Metals. Is that good, Joe?
Yeah.
Main Event Moto Podcast.
And joining us now for the first time on Main Event Moto, Cameron McAdoo. What's up, Cameron?
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing good, man. Pumped to have you on. The last show we did, we had Cooper Webb on talking about his amateur career. We had a huge response. And I don't know, well, I mean, I guess we can kind of tell the story of how we got you on. I put up a post on Instagram and was asking everybody who they wanted to hear from next. Like, whose amateur career did they want to know about next? And man, they were throwing out all kinds of names. And then I'm just doing my own research, and I'm like, you know what? I'd kind of like to talk to Cameron about his amateur career because, bro, I'm looking at this paper, and there's not much signs early on that you're going to turn into a factory pro circuit Kawasaki rider getting on the podium. I got to admit, your amateur career, it didn't look great early.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how I ran into that post on Instagram because I don't even think you tagged me in it or anything. And then I saw it, and I'm like, that looks pretty similar to something that I think that those years or like those classes look pretty similar. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I got 28th in Schoolboy 1 in 1 year. Like,
yeah.
And then like my last year, was 2016, and that was where I was kind of coming on, and I got 3rd and 4th, and Chase Sexton and those guys were there. So
yeah. So
I was like, that's gotta be my result.
So dude, what I did was I'm thinking of who I want to have on next to do this amateur spotlight with. And I wanted to do it with you because I knew that your amateur career was different. I didn't want to just go from Webb to AC or to Michael Alessi. I mean, we can talk about all the 111s down the page another day. I was like, I want to see somebody who wasn't the superstar kid who just, kind of walked into it or at least had an easy transition. I wanted to talk to someone who didn't. And I knew your story was that way. So I went on Racer X, the vault for Loretta Lynn's, typed in your name, and I was like, I'm going to put this up here and see if anyone could figure it out. And it took a while before someone finally got it, but yeah, those results, dude, those are yours. So I'm assuming when you saw it, you're like, huh, that looks like me a little bit.
Yeah, I did. And then I was like, Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I'm down. I always enjoy, bench racing even and just whatever. It's pretty cool.
All right. Well, we're going to bench race about you, if that's okay. So
all right, yeah.
I want to start where, okay, I'm going to do this different than the one I did with Webb. Well, it's similar, but a little different. I want to start with where I first at least watched you. And I know you raced Monster Cup, so I know, and I remember that a little bit, but not really. I remember you riding for the Moto Concept Smart Top. I don't even know if it was Smart Top and all of them back then, but I know it was with Tony Alessi, who I'm good friends with. And I had enough relationship with Tony where I asked, who's this McAdoo kid you got riding for? And he just said, dude, heart like you wouldn't believe, works his tail off. Like he is, oh man, hold on a second.
No worries.
The neighbor is literally cutting concrete or something next door. Hold on. Okay. So anyways, I remember you riding that rookie season, and I was impressed. I thought you were riding hard, and then the transition to Geico all happened. So I want to start there, actually, and just start with your pro debut with Tony Alessi and that team. How did that all come about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of have to backtrack to kind of explain how it came about, but honestly, it was like early 2016. Mike Alessi, he had moved to Club MX. That's where I was training at the time, and I guess he basically got a hold of Tony and was like, "Hey, man, like, there's this kid that rides here, and he, like, is on his own dime, like everything, and he's pretty fast. Like, goes really fast on outdoor track and stuff." And I got a call from Tony before Daytona, and he was like, "Hey, would you be interested in pitting out of our semi at the Daytona amateur race? And we'll give you tires and a mechanic and some plastics and graphics." And I was like, "I'm in." Like, tires, that's $400 to put tires on both my bikes. Like,
tires. So tires got you in.
Yeah, and I was gonna be headed down there, literally in my van with my mom. And like, I don't really try to make my story sound like some crazy super rags to riches story, but that's just bottom line how it was. Like, that's where I was at, and I was stoked. So started there, went there, and I met Mike Genova, and he was the team owner. And I think that was kind of his first experience with amateur racing at the time. And I don't think he realized the level that amateur racing was until then. He was like, "Wow, this is, these guys are for real. Like, they're right on the level of pro guys." And so that following week, they liked what they saw, and Tony and Mike Genova, they, got back a hold of me, and they're like, "Hey, we want to support you throughout the rest of your amateur career." And like, because that was my last year in the A class. And so I had a deal with them through Monster Cup. And then, at Monster Cup, they offered me an East Coast Lights 250 ride. Which
was not their thing at the time, right? They were 450s. Yeah. I remember you being a little unique for their program. It wasn't their standard deal. You were an exception.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, that was what was like pretty, special to me, because I had nothing, I had no offers, and I did pretty good throughout that year. I went to Loretta's that year, and actually the Monday before Loretta's, I had a crash at Club, and I broke 2 ribs and fractured my humerus. And I kind of told myself, because my parents had always said, we'll help financially support you till you're 18. And then at that point, if you don't make it work, they basically gave me 2 years when I was 16. And if we can't make it work at that point, then it's, back to reality and figure it out. And
so you were racing Loretta's no matter what.
Yeah, I was like, I'm racing. Like, I have to. I have no option. I have to race. That was my mindset. And I even talk about it sometimes looking back on Loretta's, and I see how the kids feel racing it now. Of when you go there, it's like you truly feel like this is it. Like, this is all or nothing. And that's the mindset you carry to it. And looking back, it's easy to kind of laugh on it and be like, "Wow, man, like, it does matter." But like, at the end of the day, it didn't,
Yeah.
But it's very important. Obviously, it gets you where you're at. But so anyway, yeah, they pretty much made that Lights program for me, because they knew that I was, not going to have anything. And so, yeah, they definitely stuck their foot out huge for me. And I mean, it costed, I assume, a lot of money,
Yeah, especially for them to do something outside of their program. You got to remember to add another 450, you got parts in the truck, but if you're going on a 250, that means you are spending a lot of money up front just to even create the program. But then the confusing part for me, and a good thing for you, because you've had to gut out some situations being, a fill-in ride. I mean, whatever. It hasn't been easy since. But that year, you did get the bump up to Geico with Tony's help and all that. But I didn't really understand what was the reasoning that he wanted to help that happen. I mean, they invested a lot into you to get you on their program 250 and then to just pass off. Was that always the plan, or did that come about kind of on the fly?
No, yeah. I mean, it wasn't the plan. Obviously, they do Supercross only, and as a lights rider, you can't. You got to race outdoors. You have to. I mean, it's
you got to stay. You got to stay in the eyes, on the eyes, right?
Yeah. I'm really close with Brayton, and a lot of people ask him, about like the Supercross only thing, and he's like, "Man, there's a very few amount of jobs in our sport that you can only race Supercross."
Yeah, he's a grown man too. He did his outdoor stuff. He grinded his outdoors.
Yeah, and he deserves that. But so yeah, honestly, no, it was not the plan at all. After Toronto Supercross, which was my third race, as a rookie, I battled with, actually, I remember battling with RJ Hampshire for like the whole main event. We were in like 8th place, and I was like, I felt awesome about that, right? Like, it was sweet. And he crashed on the last lap and broke his ankle. Well, that year, Sexton was going pro as a rookie too, and he broke his leg. I want to something. He got hurt.
Broke his femur at Atlanta, his first one in free practice.
So the following week, they called Tony, and they had like 3 riders out, and basically I got a phone call from Tony saying, "Hey, Geico wants you for outdoors," and I was like stoked, right? Like, yeah. And he's like, obviously, don't hold your breath, but they also want you for the rest of the Supercross. But I've got we got to talk with Mike, Genova, and like this, I
got to stop you right there. He said, "Don't hold your breath," but you held your breath, right? I mean, you had to, right? You're like, really? For real?
Yeah. He's like, they want to start you with Supercross, and that's like, that's pretty far fetched. It seemed, but, so he's like, we're going to have some meetings, so on and so forth. And so I was stoked that I was like, they want me for outdoors. I'm going to have a job and so on. Well, that following week was the week before Daytona, and I was actually riding a hybrid Daytona track, and I crashed in some like little like roller section deal, and I sliced my hand open super bad, like, oh man, down to like my palm was all the way wide open, like, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, right now. And so headed to Daytona, I'm like, I have to try and race. I went out for first practice, and I couldn't even hold on to my bike. And they weren't really telling me anything that was going on with the Geico deal. They didn't want to, they wanted to wait till after the race.
Right.
And they didn't want to, and I was like, what do I do? Like, I can't, I'm injured now. Like, what, they're not going to want to, and I physically could not hold on to my bike. Like, I had a gouge, a couple inches deep into my hand. I had like 20 stitches in it. I was just like, I have to, right? And then, Genova and Tony went over to the Geico guys, and they came back that day, and they were like, hey, got good news or bad news for you. The bad news is that we're holding you out from racing for the next few rounds. But the good news is you're going to be on Geico, or he said also, we're going to miss you here, but you're going to be on Geico the rest of this year, and also for 2018 if you want to take that deal. Yeah, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, are you serious? Like, at that time I was, and so basically what happened was Geico had wanted me for 2017, and Genova was pretty much like, hey, the only way I'll let him go for the rest of Supercross is if you guys give him a fair shot and give him a full year 2018 as well. And
wow, man.
So yeah, that was like, I literally only raced 3 rounds for him. I raced 3 races, and that was it. And he, stuck it out and was like, hey, like, he knew that was what was best for me. Like, they didn't have a lights effort. They didn't have, they just made a lights effort for me. And then when that opportunity came about, he knew that was the best thing for me in my career. And, like that was, so, I mean, that still to this day, like I still, talk to Genova and Tony, and they're great, like great guys. And that was huge.
That is huge to get that extra year too, just because, I mean, I rode for Geico in 2009. It was a 6 or 7 round deal. And it took all 7 rounds for me to even get the bike to be remotely good for me. And it's like, then it was over. So for them to be able to get that next year for you, because there's going to be some growing pains and some transition, and it's not going to be a fair assessment of who you are. I mean, I honestly think the same thing last year. You were a fill-in rider for Geico again, then you filled in for TLD. Yep. It's like, dude, you know how it is when you're filling in. It's like, yeah, it's good, but I'm not really all the way gelled with everything. So if you don't have that extra year to like be able to build, dude, you're never going to really, I mean, it's just too much pressure in a situation that's just uncomfortable,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's almost like the thing. You say you got a guy, I mean, you see it happen a lot, like on a privateer bike, like a pretty good privateer bike. And then a couple rounds in the Supercross, something happens and a team gives, or a guy has 3 or 4 rounds on a factory team. And then you have everyone saying, oh, this dude's got to do this and that. And like, it's so hard to put that expectation on a rider. You can't get on a bike, and just because it's a factory bike doesn't take the bumps away. The wheels are still there. The rhythms are still there. Like, it's still a dirt bike and it's still a motorcycle. Like, basically there's a lot more options, and you have a lot more access to things, but it's not going to just take you from being a 8th place guy to standing on the podium in a week.
Okay.
Like, that's not how it works.
Cameron, here's the best example of that. You hear Ken Roxon sometimes say, like, yeah, the bike was a little off tonight, and on a night when he's off, right? He's a 6th or 7th place guy, and then the next week he can win. See the variance in results just by him not being comfortable on his own bike that he's been on for years and had an off season on. Imagine throwing a rider onto a factory bike that is not set up for them and then expecting them to go from 6-7 to 1. It does not happen. It doesn't happen that way with guys on their own bikes, let alone someone on it. Yeah, so that's awesome of them. I didn't know that's how that went down. I can't believe they fought for you like that. It's just, I mean, I think that that team, Tony, they have definitely done a lot for their brand over the last few years, just the way they run things, and just to hear that, it compounds it for me. So it's awesome, and I'm sure you're, forever grateful for those guys.
Oh, for sure. I like to be able to tell that story because not a lot of people really know how that went. I didn't. Had a lot of people be like, "Oh, so basically Honda." They have asked me, basically Honda made Moto Concepts give you up, and I'm like, no, that's not how it went at all. Like that was kind of a direct assumption, right? And like the MCR guys, like even Mike or Genova and Tony, like they didn't like go out of their way to be like, hey, industry, look what we did. We let this kid do this. They just were like, here you go. Like they knew what was best, and they didn't like pat themselves on the back. They weren't. They didn't blow it up, and like, so I like to be able to tell that story because it was truly like just they were looking out for my best interest. It
sounds 100% like a personal deal. They liked you. I mean, Tony told me the first thing he said, kid's got endless heart. He fights. He works his ass off. It sounds like they just respected you, liked you, and said, let's see if we can help in any way we can, and if we can use us as a platform to get them somewhere, we'll do it as quick as possible. And it just worked out. And again, for them to not go and brag about it and go like, hey, look at us, write an article about us, about that. That's pretty high character on their part. It shows that they really did care just about you, and it wasn't really about them. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. It meant a lot. And I mean, they were a huge part of, my career. Okay. This is the
amateur spotlight. So let's get back to the amateur career. We're going to start. Okay, so I printed out Loretta Lynn's results of yours. They don't start till 2007 on a 65, but I'm assuming there was some 50 days in there at home, and you're from Iowa, right? You're near Brayton comes from there, Gavin Faith. Who else is out of that area?
Denny Stevenson, I think he's maybe Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep.
That's where he's from. So, that's like an hour and 20 minutes from my house.
Okay.
But, and then even like guys like Chad Pedersen.
Yeah.
They were, good. And then
where was Teddy Chase Sexton this whole time? Was he near you?
I think he's Illinois, right?
Yeah, Southern Illinois or Indiana, maybe even. I mean, I know he's in the area, but maybe not all the way by you.
Yep.
Okay, and he's somewhat your age, close, within a year or two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's a year younger.
All right, so where did it start then? Day one, first race, Cameron McAdoo's on the gate. Where was it? How'd you do?
Where was it? It was in Lamar's, Iowa. I was on a JR50, and
well, that was your first problem.
Yep. It came out of the start, and I think it took like a left-hand corner and then down a little hill. And I came off the start, and I made it to the top of the hill, and I stopped. and my dad was at the bottom of the hill, and he was like, "Come on!" And I was like, "Nope, I'm not going on that thing. Nope, that's not happening." So it was at a fair race, and I watched that night. My sister rode. Or she raced, and she had an XR70. Because originally, when we first got bikes, my sister basically made a bet with my dad, and they split 50-50 a flesh wound 80, KX flesh wound 80. And it was having problems, so my dad was taking it to the bike shop, and I asked him on the way to the bike shop if there was one that would fit me if I could get it. And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." You know, thinking I was 3 years old at the time. No chance there's going to be a dirt bike that fits me.
Right.
Well, we walked out of there with a brand new JR50 and an XR70 for my sister. Nice. So yeah, that was, I mean, where it all originally started.
So the first race, you didn't go down the hill.
Nope, didn't go down the hill. That was all she wrote for that one.
Okay.
And then,
did the 50 life speed up for you? Did you do the whole Cobra? I mean, did you guys get caught up in the whole 50 thing?
I mean, not really. Like, we played hockey too, and then so once I started racing, like actually racing 50s, I had KTM 50s is what I rode. My sister was on 65s, and we raced like very locally, like very, had a little track in our yard, just did it for fun. And then we found out about arena cross. So we hit a couple of arena crosses, and then at that point, my parents were like, "Okay, it's either hockey or dirt bikes. It's too expensive." We picked dirt bikes. And
why is that? What was it? Just more fun at the time? I mean, you're a little kid. I know it's hard to remember, but was it just more straight up more fun?
Straight up more fun. We did it all year. In the wintertime, we didn't really ride much at all. And we would be able to go to like Des Moines Arena Cross. And Omaha, I think, had an Arena Cross at the time. And so, yeah, like that was kind of, I don't even think, we chased the Arena Cross for a couple of years and like weren't super serious about it, but like we wanted to go to the US Open.
Okay.
And like at that time, I mean, when I was on 50s, like up until I was probably 7 years old, or 6 years old, I thought of the pinnacle of dirt bikes being Josh DeMuth and Darcy Lange and like arena cars. That's who I looked up to. Like I didn't really think RC and those guys were real. Like I didn't even, that.
Well, you're a little guy, you could only judge what you actually saw with your own eyeballs, not on television. And you did see them. You saw DeMuth and Chad Johnson and these guys.
The pinnacle was, So then I actually qualified for Vegas. And I think I was 7 at the time and went and raced the US Open. And we watched the Supercross the night before. And I think RC and Michael Byrne battled.
Okay.
Which is, I think they were both on Suzuki's at the time.
Okay.
So then after that, we made it to the US Open. So it was like, oh, like we're pretty good, we're good at it. So we're going to try this Loretta's thing. And went to an area qualifier. And I think I got like 15th. Like it was at Cooperland in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
The ruts were so deep that I couldn't even ride around the track, and like I was lost.
It's just fish out of water. Just something. It was outside of what you knew.
100%. And that was the end of me racing arena cross and stuff. So then we kind of just went back to doing local stuff, and then we found out we tried doing the Loretta's thing. So each year we'd go to one area qualifier and a regional, and our goal was to make it to Loretta's. And my first year I made it, was on a 65. I think I was third alternate. My sister qualified, but I was like third alternate, and like 3 weeks before Loretta's I got in.
And this is 2007, 65, 7 and 9 is the first one that comes up. So this got to be your 9-year-old year, right?
Yep. I would
now,
say
how old is your sister compared to you?
She's 4.5 years older than me. So
Okay.
She's 26. Yeah, 26.
So she was racing
now.
too, pretty full time.
Yep.
I mean, she was into it too, full time.
Yeah. Yep. She raced the girls class, and so yeah, that was our first year. We went to Loretta's, and like we're just starstruck, just by being there. Like it was.
So the 36th place finish was okay out of the gate.
Oh yeah, we were cool with it for sure.
Just got to ride. You're stoked.
Yeah, it was all good. Yeah, and then the next few years, we would hit Ponca. We would hit a couple of the races, and it was more so just like a family. Like that's what we did for family vacation, during the summertime or whatever. And it was never. I wasn't doing motos. I was a normal kid. I went to normal school. Like, it's not like we were going to do it like, hey, this is what you're going to grow up and do. That wasn't even a thing.
Okay, that's the we part of it. But what about you individually? Are you thinking like, I want to be a pro someday? My little guy right now, he's 10 years old and he wants to be Cooper Webb. He wants to be Cooper Webb so bad. At that age, are you having the same thoughts of like, I want to be a pro, I want to do that? Or is it still just kind of like it's what you just kind of do?
Yeah, I've kind of like I tried going back to that. I think like I wanted to be like a team green rider.
Okay,
and it might sound cliche because I ride for Pro Circuit now, but like I didn't even think of going pro and racing pro. Like my main goal was to like be able to ride a team green like bike. Like that was what was.
So it was still more local and regional. You would see a team green rider and be like, "Oh, I want to be one of them. I want to be one of those."
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. Like I still remember I would go to a regional and I would like before practice, I'd be counting guys. I'd be like, "All right, well, there's 8 of them that are going to beat me, so hopefully it takes 2 of them out because I want to qualify." Like that was. But like racing pro was so far fetched,
right?
I guess my dream always was I want to get homeschooled and I want to go to a training facility. That was when MTF was coming around.
Oh, okay.
Those places were new. So like that was kind of my dream, but I didn't ever really have any dreams or like thinking I was going to go race pro or like it wasn't even really a thing to me.
Your 11-year-old year on a 65 though, you got 12th. So what was the big gain there? I mean, before that it was out of the top 30 and then all of a sudden you're in 12. Did you practice more, train more, or did you just grow up a little bit? Like what's up with the big jump there?
Yeah, it was weird. There was that one, I think it was like the stock class. I still remember that year. And I always pride my parents to get homeschooled. And my dad pretty much told me like, if you get top 10 at Loretta's once, then you can get homeschooled. He basically just told us that just to be like, okay, get off me about it. Like, there's no chance you're getting homeschooled. Like, you're going to school, you're going to be a normal kid. You're going to get it, like this isn't a thing. And
oh man, that 12 probably had him sweating.
I got like 25th the first moto. And then like the second moto, like I got a good start and I must have just stayed on 2 wheels. I don't know if the class wasn't very stacked. It was like a stock class. Whatever, and I got like 7, and I ended up 12th. I remember being so bummed because, I mean, even if I got top 10, like they weren't gonna homeschool me.
Yeah, but he still would have had to have the conversation and let you down.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was devastated because I thought, and I'm like, but I got 10th in a moto, so doesn't that count? You know how kids try and talking. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
So then I got on the 85s and then I kind of went back to like not being very good. And I remember at that time kind of being on, when I got on the 85, like for some reason I would put like a little bit of an expectation on myself. Like I would do like 20-minute motos at my house on summer break before Loretta's. Like, so then I would be mad when I didn't do good,
Right.
Which I had no business being expected to get 10th or something.
Well, I mean, maybe that 12th did it. You're just like, wow, I'm not that far away from the top guys. Maybe if I actually take it serious, I could be a top 7 guy every moto or something. Maybe it was just a little bit of results gave you a little bit of your own expectations,
Yep, for sure. And then, I raced on like 85s, and then Super Mini, I don't think I ever went to Loretta's on a Super Mini.
Okay, so that's my question is, you raced in 09, 85, 9 to 11. You didn't come back till schoolboy in 2012, so what was in 10, 11, where was going on those couple years? I mean, you weren't there.
Yeah. I think I tried one year in a Super Mini, and I got hurt at my regional. And then I think at that point it was kind of, my sister was kind of like done racing, and she was getting into high school, kind of was a little bit over it.
Yeah.
You know, she broke some collarbones, had some injuries, and was like, I'm over this, you know? And we kind of brought it back to like, just race some local stuff. And so we kind of, I think when I want to say when I was 12 or 13 was when my parents got divorced.
Okay.
And so like there was a little bit of a tough time there. It wasn't too bad at all, but like there was times when we kind of split bikes, and it was weird. So
just whatever kind of momentum was maybe building, just when you went all back to zero, because again, you're not there. Even when you come back in 2012 in the schoolboy, it's 28th. So I mean,
exactly,
that 12th, there's a big gap before you get anywhere near the top 10 again. So it sounds just like a lot of things were going on, but racing wasn't a priority.
Yeah, and I started racing local races. I think my parents kind of got together. Even after my parents got divorced, like they were always super on the same page with us as kids and racing and stuff like that, and like made it the best on us, you know?
Right.
And they kind of got together, and they're like, man, like kids aren't even having fun doing this because we're chasing some nationals and stuff like that. And they never, ever put an expectation, put any pressure on us. But like I got to the age where I realized how much money and time they were spending, and so then I put that on. So they were just kind of like, let's bring it back to just like having fun, going to local races. So we kind of did that for a few years. And then the year I went in schoolboy, I remember I was pretty over it by like, for some reason at that year, I only raced, I raced one race at a local track. And then I raced my area and my regional. That was it the whole entire year up until Loretta's. And I worked construction a little bit with my dad that year. I think I was 14 that year. And I went with him. He traveled for construction, and the job site that he was on, like his company that he was working for actually owned it. And they had this big lot. And we built like a little track, and I would ride before Loretta's there. And I traveled with him that summer, and it, like just had a blast, you know, working,
right.
Watching. I was making a little bit of money, and it was like, that was just so fun. And then went to Loretta's, you know, whatever happened. I got, I think 28th.
Yep. 28th in schoolboy 1.
Yep. And then, the following year after that, 2013, I was like, okay, I'm done with trying Loretta's and stuff. I was getting into, I think I was a freshman in high school at that point. And so I was like, I was pretty cooked on that. And I didn't ride at all after Loretta's. And then I had some buddies invite me to like a trip down to Oklahoma, and went back down and rode with those guys. And I just had the most fun I had on a dirt bike. Like it was just so much fun. And I remember coming back, and I was like, I had a group of friends, and there was this series called the Nebraska Series. And I was like, these guys were from Nebraska, and I was like, I want to race the Nebraska Series. I'm going to race local. Like, this is a blast. So all of 2013, I got some Suzukis, and I was on the contingency program, and I raced all local races. And I was making I would make probably $500 a weekend on contingency money. And then they had an open outlaw class, which was like A and B riders.
Right. Yeah. Just like try to get a big class to get just to get a full gate, kind of make it the exciting class. Yeah. We do some of that stuff at our local races too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I raced that class, and that would pay my cash entry fees. So I was like, my cash entry fees were paid for, and I was making some cash on top of it. Like once I'd build up enough contingency money, I'd go buy an FMF or, a pipe for my bike or whatever. I remember buying wheel sets. Like I was so stoked to have a set of wheels. And so that was such a fun summer for me. And
this is 2013, right? Because there's no Lorettas here, and you're racing. Nope. Are you a B rider racing in the A? Or okay.
Nope.
Or
the open outlaw class was not an A class.
It was an open class or whatever,
open
right?
Class.
Yep. Okay.
Main event moto.
Joe, when I think of Blenzall, I think of the smell because it's so good. But that's not fair because it's the quality of their products that really stands out. Go to Blenzall.com and take a look at the catalog. 2-stroke, 4-stroke, they got everything that you need for your motorcycle and it's top quality. I used to be in the oil industry. I know the difference between crappy oil and good oil. Blenzall.com has the best. Check them out. That's what the Motoheads run. Walk out in your garage. Take a look at your bike. You know your graphics are roasted and you need a new set. That's why you go to Old Me Creations to freshen up. High quality, good looks. They are the choice of the Motoheads. That's why you need to put some Old Me Creations on your bike. Not everybody's like Toolman Dan and washes their bike more than they actually ride it. So your bike is probably hammered and it needs some Old Me Creations stat. Again, quality, style, they got you covered. That's why the Motoheads run Old Me Creations. Joe, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Screen printing done. We got to do their commercial, right?
Yes, we do.
Let's do a commercial/tease where we tease our new T-shirt coming out in March.
Ooh-wee.
But then also mention how Neil's the man and screenprintingdone.com is who does all of our stuff.
Right.
Isn't that kind of a good idea? Like
I think
a commercial/tease right there?
Yeah.
Well, Neil is the man. You go to screenprintingdone.com if you want to get something custom done like we do. And of course, when March hits, you get that Main Event Moto t-shirt done by Neil at screenprintingdone.com.
Yeah.
So can you turn this into the commercial?
I think we can.
What do you got to do it?
I think we just did.
If you're a true Motohead, then motosport.com is your only choice when it comes to OEM or aftermarket parts for your bike. And when it comes to servicing your bike or giving it the punch you need to perform, it's EMT Racing. With motosport.com, you can get everything you need for your bike with great pricing and ridiculous speed on shipping. And with EMT, it's simple. Take your bike to the experts.
2020 is the year EMT takes over the performance world. If you don't know, now you know.
Your Bat Bros choose motosport.com and EMT Racing, and you should too. I love when NorCal companies take the world by storm. Guts Racing seat covers and no-toil filters are made right here at home, but their products travel the country and world on some of the baddest dudes' bikes in pro racing.
Who runs Guts?
Too many factory teams to list, Joe.
Who runs No Toil?
Well, it's the only filter Chad Reed will run. Guts and No Toil make only the best. So visit gutsracing.com and notoil.com and step up your game, Motoheads.
Main Event Moto Podcast.
So then I raced enough contingency that I got an invite to go to Carmichael's for this camp.
Oh, the RM deal, right?
The RMR, yeah, the camp there. So I was like, that was like crazy. I was like, no way, but it's all the way in Florida. So my mom called my dad right away, like, we've got to go to this. And my dad's like, there's no way I'm driving all the way down to Florida for a 1 or 2 day camp for him to ride. Like, I can't do that. I can't take off work. And so he's like, the only way I'm doing it, because my mom couldn't do it at the time, the only way I'm doing it is if we go race Mini-O's or something like that. And we had never been down there because Florida's a long way from Iowa. So we got it all together. We packed up in a moto van, and my dad and I headed down, went to Carmichael's for the 2 days, and then went and raced Mini-O's. And
wow, okay.
And then at that time I was, I think I was A class. I moved up to A, the end of 2013, I moved up to A because there was this big money race locally. And I was like, I might as well move up to A. There's no reason for me to stay in B anymore. I'm not going to race nationals.
Yeah, if you're not chasing amateur nationals and you're chasing racing and money, then you might as well just be a pro and start making that money.
Exactly. And locally, I was fast enough to win. Like, I would win Open Outlaw. So it was frustrating not to race A class.
Right.
So I started racing A. So then I was an A guy. And I was young. I was 14, I think. Right. But it didn't matter because locally I could make $800-900 on a weekend. And that was like, I was stoked, sophomore in high school.
Sophomore in high school making the cheddar, dude. That's without.
I had a full tank of gas in my truck, and I had some sweet jeans. I don't know. So then I went to Mini-O's and I don't know. I got a couple decent starts in the Supercross portion, and might have snuck an 8th place in or something in the A class. And my parents, that was good. We thought that was really good. So,
well, and then Mini-O's too. Loretta's is the big kahuna, But if you're at East Coast, like Mini O's is like the big kahuna of the East Coast, where like say the World Minis or Mammoth is big on the West. So that's a legit race. I mean, that's the tier 2 behind Loretta's as some of the biggest races in the world or in the country.
For sure.
So you doing well there is like, that's a big deal. Like probably more than you guys even realized at the time.
Yeah. And we were like, and I think that was kind of what like boosted it to be like, you know, because at that point I'm a sophomore in high school. The winter, you know, I'm right in the middle of my sophomore year, and I got a road bike that year, that winter. Because I mean, literally in the wintertime in Iowa, growing up, I would maybe ride from, you know, the end of October until, I don't know, April. Like I would maybe ride twice. I would go down to Oklahoma for, you know, a little riding trip with some friends or with my parents and family.
Yeah,
like
I mean, you had to really work for riding time. It wasn't like every day during the winter, like you are now.
Exactly, for sure. And so, that kind of opened my parents' eyes a little bit, and they're like, "Wow, he could, you know, maybe he could be pretty good." And so I got a road bike, and I remember that every night after school, I would go down to my basement and ride it on the rollers. I had like rollers as a trainer, and my dad was a Category 2 cyclist, so he was like which would be basically probably like a top A rider at Loretta's. That was the level he got.
So his background was in that and fitness. So you had a leg up on knowing what to do to get in shape.
Got a good road bike, you know, and I started cycling. I was training for I don't know what. I just wanted to get in shape that winter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And one night my mom came downstairs and told me like, "Hey, pick a training facility that you'd like to go to. We're gonna send you there to a training facility for a year, like at the end of this year."
Where'd that come from? Like where?
I had no clue. I was blown away. So I called my dad, and he was like, "You're joking. Like your mom didn't say that." Cause he around that time, he was like, "Why don't we give it a shot? Like, let's give him 1 year shot. Like he's halfway through high school. I had, you know, a lot of credits done. Like I could have almost graduated at the end of my junior year." And my mom was like, "Not a chance, not a chance, not a chance." And then
when she says it, your dad is like, "What?"
He's like, "I'm in." Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was like, "No way." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah." So we started looking around, and we called around and stuff, and decided that Club MX was the best fit for us. So I raced Freestone that year, didn't do very good, but the last
because you weren't going till after school, right? Did you had to finish school and then you could go for the summer?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I actually had to skip the last 2 days of school so I could make it down to South Carolina to make it to one of the area qualifiers.
So you could do the regional.
So I could race that region, so I didn't have to drive all the way back to the Midwest to do my regional.
I see. Okay.
So that's 2014.
Yeah, and I want to stop you right there. So
no, go ahead.
At this point in 2014, you have a 12th one time at Loretta's, but you've only raced there like 4 times. So there's literally like no amateur career really to go off of. Racing local, making some money, turn pro, now taking it more serious. Parents are going to give you a shot. Were there terms to this shot? I mean, because you're still under 18. So is there terms like, hey, you have to do this to keep this going, or was it open-ended? Like what? Because I mean, you're turning pro, like legit pro. You're going to go do Loretta's. You're giving it a shot, but there was no terms to the deal.
No, we did a 1 year commitment at club. And the thing was that I keep my schools together straight because I had, you know, a year left, some credits left.
Yep.
I keep myself straight and narrow on that. And you work your butt off every single day. You don't, you know what I mean? If we talk to the owner, you know, it was Brandon and then Mike at the time. And if we talk to them and you're screwing off or something, like you're coming back. And that was never an option. Like that in my mindset, I was like, this opportunity is unreal.
Well, and you said you wanted to go to a training facility someday. That was like, so you're pretty much getting your shot. At least start with your parents. We'll get the shot there.
Yep.
But there was no way you were gonna slack off on the grades, slack off on the. I mean, you took it serious.
Yeah. Yep. So we loaded up motorhome and then put my Moto van I had at the time on a skid loader trailer from my dad's work, and my mom and I drove motorhome down to Club MX in South Carolina. And I was, was going to be there for a year. That was the plan. That was what we did. And then, that was the year I think I got like 12th and 15th or something at Loretta's.
Even better, buddy. 12th and an 11th.
Okay. Yep.
Suzuki rider in the Open Pro Sport and 250A, 11th and a 12th. So
yeah,
back to that 12 number, back to that just outside the top 10 spot.
Yeah, exactly. And I pretty well remember that year. I was about a 15th place guy. But like, I think if you probably went back and looked at my moto scores, I had a lot of like 15 and 16s, but they stayed like that, So and there, if you're consistent there, if you go 15, 15, 15, you'll get an 11th or a 12th. Yeah, exactly. So that was about where I was speed wise that year.
Okay.
And then
now this whole year goes by, and then parents are cool to keep going. I mean, did they just did they went another year and said we'll give you another one? I mean, was it that? I mean, there wasn't anything past that. It was just let's just try again.
Yeah, no, I think it was basically at the end of that. Like once we were there for a year, we were pretty much like basically my mom and dad kind of sat down and wrote out how much it was going to cost, and they had this idea of what they thought it was going to be. And they had no clue. We had no clue. Riding dirt bikes every single day and paying for every part is a lot more expensive than you could ever write down on paper.
Yeah, your projection. You look at Cameron, when you're making projections like this, it's more of a hope.
Not even close.
It's a hope of what it could be, but it's going to be a lot more. And I'll ask you right now. Then, did you have the same riding style that you had? Because, dude, you send it. You are all in. Were you the same way back then? Were you I mean, if you're going 15, 15, 15, were you mellow or were you going for it?
In comparison to the way I ride right now, I ride like Justin Brayton now. Put it that way.
So you're mellow now. You're mellow now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying in comparison. Yeah.
Okay, because I got questions later for your riding style. It has to do with your nickname and you trying to kill murdering Dylan Ferrandis 3 times in Salt Lake. It's a joke, but anyways. All right. Yeah. So getting into you're going another year. You're obviously pinning it. You're all in. You want to do it, but then I see a big old 40th the next year and only one class. So what happened there?
Yeah. So like, I think going about the year thing at that point, I think it was basically they kind of decided we're all in until you're 18. Like,
okay,
and it was. I didn't grow up. My parents weren't poor. We weren't broke, but we didn't have, a double stacker trailer rolling 10 bikes out of it.
Right.
They had enough to make it happen. And that was about it. Like it was a stretch,
Yep.
And I think it was a week or a couple weeks before before Loretta's, I had a crash and I jacked, and I was actually going really fast that year before Loretta's. Because I remember we had Darian Sinai. He was really good, Team Green guy. Marshall Welton was fast at the time. And then I would ride with Nicoletti, Osborne, those guys each day. And like I was set for what I thought was going to be a really good year. And I fractured my ankle really bad. And obviously, me being me, I was like, I'm racing. I'm going to try.
Tape it up.
Yep, I tried the first Moto Pro Sport, and I basically rode around with one leg on the bike the whole time, and then that was it. Like,
so it was just a no-go. It was like, I'll give it a shot, but it ain't gonna happen.
Yep, it wasn't even a thing. So that was that year at Loretta's.
Okay,
14.
So now we're starting to kind of catch back up to where we started with the Club MX, Mike Alessi to Tony connection. Do you know Mike yet at this time? Is this starting to happen yet?
I think Mike came to Club. Must have been the off season of 15 going into 16.
Okay.
So probably I would say November he came to Club. But 2015 I did pretty good in a few like motos and stuff at Mini O's.
Okay.
I remember going to Mini O's in 2015, and before that, Josh Osby, he was riding for Orange Brigade at the time, and he's pretty close friends with Kuzo. And I was like, I bought everything. Like I would get tear-offs off cheaptearoffs.com.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was training every day at club, and he got a hold of Kuzo. He's like, dude, you got to give this kid some goggles. Like at Mini-O's, he's like, I'll give him some goggles to start practicing with because I was wearing a different brand at the time. But then, like, when we get there, can you hook him up for the week? Like, he's pretty good. Kuzo's like, yeah, for sure. And that was at that time, that was the only thing I got for free.
Jeez.
And my roommate actually just had it pulled up, a GoPro of Faulkner in 2015 on Supercross at Mini-O's, and I led the race until like 2 laps to go, and he passed me. So
so the speed is starting to move you to the front. Like you said, it's not all coming together, but at least now you're toying with the front group.
I'm getting there, still super sketchy, just barely able to hold on to it,
Yeah.
Like, and just so then, like, a few people were kind of like, oh, like, who's this guy? Just a little bit, not much though.
Some curiosity, a little curiosity out there.
A little bit, but I still nothing. And so then that winter went through, they were doing Supercross with the pro guys and stuff. And then I was getting ready for Daytona Supercross when the thing with Alessi's and MCR came with Genova. And
that's in 2016. That's in 2016. Right? 2016?
Yep.
Okay, so you start getting a little bit of help. You got the tires. First it was goggles, then it was tires. Now they're gonna help you out, and then you go to Loretta's and you get the 3rd and the 4th in the 250A and the Open Pro Sport. And that's when it's starting to become like, oh, this guy is for real. He's not just fast. He can actually put it down on paper too.
Yeah. And I think the first time that anyone really like thought that was Daytona that year. I won some heat races. I got all seconds to Faulkner, but there was one race in particular that I led the entire thing. And in the last lap, there was like, I remember it because it was like, it would have been the only national championship I ever got as an amateur.
Right.
And I was like, I got this one in the bag, and it was 450. I remember I was always racing 450 class. So I would always be able to get a start. And then he was on 250. And then it was like, a track like Daytona, like you got to hold him off. And I hit some water or something, almost like went off the track. And I lost that title, where I thought. And so like at that point, then people were like, who is this guy? Like I beat him in a couple heat races, and Faulkner was like, the man,
Yeah, he's the guy, and at this point, you've never even gotten a top 10 at Loretta Lynn's. No one even knows who you are at all.
And we're battling all weekend at Mini-O's. I remember the 6D guys came over like, hey man, like, are you gonna be at Freestone? Like, we'll have helmets for you. And
dude, what are you thinking? You're just like, what?
I'm like, oh, this is how it works. Like, okay, because before I was hitting 60 up. Hey, can I get budget? And we can't, we don't have anything. And so I was getting maybe like 40% off or 30% off helmets and stuff like that. And then, that kind of kicked it off. And I went to Freestone, got all seconds again. And then at that point, then I was like, that year I got a gear deal. I got, I was getting boots. And then MCR was helping me out with all that stuff. So then that was when it kind of kicked off, and I was starting to be able to even be self-sufficient, because at that year I was 18. That was it.
It was go time. I mean, right? I mean, you were done with school. It was time.
Yep. And if I needed to be able to financially support myself, so finally at that point I was making some bonus money at the nationals, and I could get by.
Nice. Loretta's 3rd to 4th. And then how about Monster Cup 2016?
That was kind of another, I think, like a little bit of a breakout deal for me. I'd never rode I'd never put a bike on a Supercross track until end of September or mid-September, after Loretta's came back, and because I had to let my ribs and stuff heal up.
Yep.
Came back, and I had a few weeks on Supercross, and we went to Monster Cup. And then the first race, got the whole shot, and I think I was in second. And in the last lap, Cantrell took me out like outside of Monster Alley, and I ended up 7th. And I was devastated. But I got the whole shot the first one, and that year, the Toyota sponsored it. And if the Amateur All-Star, if a rider got both whole shots, they won a Toyota Tundra. So that was the main focus. I got 7th, but I got the whole shot. So it's like,
screw the career, the results. I want the damn truck.
I need the whole shot, right? Like I think I drove like a $2,000 Ford Escape at that time. And I was like, I'm getting this truck. And it was that crazy, like, long downhill start out of the top of the stands.
Yes, that's right. The big one. And did Mitchell Falk, maybe on an 85, just weed his brains out?
He won the first race.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yep. And I remember the second start, like halfway down the start straight, you know when you have it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, I've got this. Like if I just hang tight around the inside of this corner, like I'm gonna win this truck. And I did. I won the truck actually. and then I went on to win the race, and with 7-1 I won the overall.
That's right. So, okay. I do remember that now.
It was a huge night.
Damn, so you get the truck, you get the win, you get the overall, and it's funny because Monster Cup was the US Open. So go back in time, a little 50 rider.
There you go.
I want to go to the US Open. This is it. And then here you are at Monster Cup, 50,000 people getting a truck, a win, and an overall, dude. That's huge.
Yeah, that was like a huge highlight.
You still got that truck?
Actually, my mom has it.
Really? That's awesome.
My mom has it, yep.
I heard when you get those deals, don't you have to pay the tax on it, though? Isn't that kind of a lot still?
Yeah, I did have to pay the taxes, but it was only like a couple grand.
Oh, so, still worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, definitely on the top end of it.
Wow. All right, so JR50 won't go down the hill. Ends the amateur career with the amateur all-star win at Monster Cup and wins a truck.
Yep, exactly.
Damn, son. And I really like the way it happened there late. Obviously, like I said, going into your pro years, you had never even, you barely had even raced amateurs, and then you went from 11-12, had the bad year with the 40th with the injury, whatever, came back. It's just, again, this is why I like this story, is because you did a lot right there when you needed to, and then it propelled you to get the attention. You didn't get a factory ride, but you got a nice stepping stone for some people that were looking out, that were going to help you get there if they could. And I said before, your pro career hasn't been easy. You've still had to rough it out with, some fill-ins and a lot of patience, man. I give you a lot of credit for what you've had to do, especially in the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. But now looking back, now you train with Nick Way, you ride for Pro Circuit Kawasaki. That's a little better than Team Green, Your podium Supercross. Do you look back and laugh a little? Because you were playing hockey and you took years off. It's so weird to think that not that long ago, like this was not even on your radar.
Yeah, it doesn't even that seems a lot long ago, but even, at the beginning of being at club, I still was you can have people that say, oh yeah, I've always had all the confidence in myself. And but at the end of the day, we always, that's what every rider, if every rider had the most confidence and they were 100% confident in everything, we'd win everything, right?
Yeah, everybody would win everything.
So there was times where I'm like, man, I don't know if this is going to, how is this going to really work out? If I, I roll the cards, and there's times I'm training with Darian, he's full Team Green guy, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, how, what are the chances I end up with, something and making, and then just the way everything worked. I remember always when I was training at club, I always told myself, whatever happens, if it does work out, if it doesn't, whatever happens, I never want to look back and think, damn, I wish I'd have done this, or dang, I wish I'd have done that. I want to look back and be like, hey, I gave it literally everything I had, and I just didn't have it in me. It didn't work. If it doesn't work out. If it works out, awesome. But that was, I can confidently say that I woke up every morning with that mindset, and I gave everything I had every time. And it not even just down to the workout sessions or the motos or the everything, but down to, there was literally times I did all my own bike work. I remember polishing clutch steels with emery cloth to get another day out of a clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Taking subframes to a welding shop because I had broken subframes and taken practice bikes apart the week before the Loretta's to get my race bike together because I had robbed so many parts off my race bike.
Right.
I always kind of thought like just keep grinding and like it'll always work out. It always works out.
Well, I can tell you the other side of that is I wasn't like that. I cut corners when I was young, even in my 20s. And I have a lot of regret. I can tell you right now, regret hurts more than my injuries. Regret hurts more than a lot of things. So the fact that you were able to throw it all out there like that and accept it, and for me, a lot of it was fear of failure. I didn't want to get beat straight up and then have to own up to the fact that people were better. So I self-sabotaged a lot subconsciously, but I admire you just being willing to throw it all out there and be willing to fail. If failure was what it was going to be, at least you knew that you were going to give it your all. I admire that a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it was like, if I could even give a message to like a younger kid coming up that's, doesn't have all the hype and everything, like it's so relatable. Everything that I thought, like even it'll always work out. Just keep doing everything that I can and it'll always work out. Like, once it worked out, and I got a factory pro ride and everything seemed great and stuff. And then all of a sudden at the end of 2018, it was
nothing.
like, all right, it's time to accept the fact you're not a factory guy anymore. I literally bought one of the Honda 450 that I had at club as just a spare bike to ride. I bought it from the Geico team, got suspension revalve for Supercross. And it was like, all right, time to
try again.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Brayton, like I said, he's been huge in my career. Like, called him, and it was like time to, whatever you got to do. Like, don't give up, and like it'll all work out. And then it did to another fill-in ride, and then even last summer, like
two fill-in rides in one summer, in 1 year.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting, well inside the top 10 results all summer, and still nothing's really come. And like, it's all so relatable, whether it's at the highest of pro levels or even like you had said with Coop, you just had an interview with him. Like, man, think of these first couple of years he was on a 450. Like, he for sure had to have that same mindset. Dude, it's gonna work out. Like, I mean, I'm sure there was times where he was sitting there getting ninth on the weekends, and did he think that he was going to be the champion the next year?
No.
Who knows? Or,
you never know. I mean, like you said, if you got to believe in yourself, but you also know that the hard work is what eventually gets it. And that's where your story's rad. Okay, hey, so before I let you go, I got a couple rapid fire questions from some of the listeners, and a lot of the listeners on our Instagram, they all asked the same one. I mean, what's the deal with the Ramit name? Is that just a Mathis thing, or is there more to that? But no, everybody wants to know where the hell Ramit came from.
All right, so that year, 2018, when I was off season, Mathis was going to do because the straight rhythm was like the battle of like the media companies, right?
Right. Yep.
And Mathis was going to have A-Ray race it, and their slogan was "Ram it," like they were gonna ram it to the factory guys, right? Like ram it up there. So that was like their slogan. They, how Mathis promoted it on his thing the whole time. Like a week before A-Ray's all hurt. And I get a call, something about, do you want to go race a 252 stroke at straight rhythm? And my initial thought was like, no chance. I haven't even been on a Supercross track. And at that time, it was kind of another funny story, because I was like, are you serious? Like, riding a 252 stroke for pull? Like, I still felt like I'm a Geico guy. But then I really had to check myself and be like, dude, you're not a Geico guy anymore. You're not a factory rider. Like, just do it. Yeah, why not? I'll fly to California. So I did it, and that was like really a tough pill to swallow, to like throw on the regular privateer stuff and just do it. But so that's where it came from, because they had that whole slogan, and then like it just basically turned over to me, and then there was so many guys giving A-Ray crap at straight rhythm, because he was there. Like, we're kind of buddies,
Right.
And he was there, and they're like, dude, your fill-in guy is better than you, like giving him crap. And he's like, dang, whatever, So that's where the Ramit came from.
All right. Everyone wanted to know. The other one everyone wanted to know is how you pulled your chick, because she's pretty hot, and you did well there. You did really well. Yeah. You can go as far as you want on that one, but actually, hold on. Let me move to the next one. Ryan Gears wants to know, what does he think of the Lawrence Bros calling him whackers? Do you even know? Do they actually call you that, or do they just make that up on the spot? Because they were on Pulp when I was in there, and they said they call you whackers.
No, yeah, they've always called me that. We were kind of teammates, at the last year and stuff like that. And both Jet and Hunter and their dad, they always come, "What's up, whackers?" Like, but they say it in an Australian accent, and it almost sounds like Macca. Or I never really knew what they were saying, but I figured it out now.
Okay, well, you're to them, you're whackers.
Yeah. With my girlfriend, we had just mutual friends, and one time I was at Paige Craig. It was really good friends with her, and I was like, "You need to set me up,"
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it all worked out.
What's more impressive, you ending up on Pro Circuit Kawasaki or pulling her?
Ooh, I don't know.
I interviewed Faulkner when we were in Salt Lake. I did a Zoom deal with him, and I asked how you two pulled those chicks, and he said he has no idea how two nerdy dirt bike riders are able to pull those girls.
Dude,
That's what he said.
I guess I don't know either. And it's funny. She gives me crap because she's a country singer,
right?
Actually,
yep.
She's a Nashville. She's a country singer, and I always told her, growing up, I always had a crush on Carrie Underwood, big time. And she's like, "Geez, you have a thing for blonde country singers." I'm like, "I know, it worked out, right?"
Yeah.
Look what I got now.
It's what I always wanted, and I got it. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Pretty big there.
Well,
I don't know how I pulled it off.
Congrats on that, dude. She's definitely attractive. When my wife admits a girl's good looking, they're good looking, and she thinks she's really attractive. So good job. Two more quick ones. Hold it to the rev limiter wants to know, did you ever race at Riverside Raceway in Winterset, Iowa?
Yeah, I raced there quite a bit actually. I've done area qualifiers there, and Brayton has it's called a Justin Brayton shootout. He started it a few years ago.
Yeah.
He has that there, and I went there the one year I was injured, and I was back in Iowa at the time when he had it, and I went there and hung out. That's a really cool track. It's one of my favorite tracks in Iowa, actually.
It's sick. I remember Brayton's race was on Instagram or whatever, and I remember I watched some of the videos, and I DM'd him. I'm like, "Bro, that place is sick," and he was like, "Oh yeah." So definitely a cool spot. All right, last one. Navan Hui 614. This one's great. He wants me to ask you, how much talent does it take to unintentionally put Dylan in the dirt 3 straight heat races? And then he says, Ramit Wackadoo for Best Teammate Award 2020. Honestly, I said it on this show multiple times. None of those were on purpose. None of those were dirty, but you somehow put him on the ground 3 times in a row. Is it just pure talent, or what the hell was happening there?
I don't know. Honestly, I went into Salt Lake. I wanted to win, whether it was a heat race, whether it was a main event. I wanted to win. And the first heat race was the first time I had raced since San Diego, and I was still pretty banged up from my lung injury there, So, I knew I had speed, and where I passed him, actually, that first heat race, the way it happened was so crazy.
It's so weird.
I knew I had a lot of speed in the whoops, but so did he. He knew I did too. I think from the second lap, he noticed it because I think I showed him a wheel, which might not have been the smartest move, in the corner after the whoops, and pretty much showed him my cards at that point. So he started drifting all the way to I would hit him down the left. He was just drifting into the left and wouldn't let it happen. So I knew that 90 before the triple in the heat race, it was super muddy. So we had to go to the outside to hit it. So I'm like, I'm going to have to race him down this rhythm lane. And basically, my plan was I was going to just take us both to the tough blocks, and we were going to both have to go. Right,
just the old suicide pass where you just dive in, shut you both down, and then roll double and get on your business.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the exact plan. That's, if I'm honest, that's what I can't say, I plan on staying to the inside and, hitting the triple. No, I didn't. I was going to just take his line and then do that. And then, when you rewatch it, my back wheel slides out, and it's almost crazy because it's literally almost identical to him and Craig's crash.
In a different way, for sure. That one was violent and high speed. I don't think you could do what you did again in 1,000 tries. I really don't think you could even do that again.
Yeah, I saw out of the corner of my eye him flipping over the bars, and I'm like, holy crap.
How did that happen? And
then, the other two were just, just pretty hectic. dude, you guys, I mean, everyone got to watch it. West Coast Supercross. I mean,
you guys were nutty, dude.
We were going for it. There's 8 of us going for it, 9, 10 even. Like the first lap, the first couple corners, like if you're not 1 or 2, like it's gnarly. So yeah, I mean, I was just going for it, I guess. And he got the short end of the stick a few times, unfortunately.
He did, but I just, like I said, again, people were like, I saw people asking, do you think there's team tactics? Is Mitch or Austin paying Cameron to do that? I said, he couldn't do that if he tried to do that. That would have never worked intentionally. It was it was freak deals, but it's still pretty funny because, dude, you're Ramit. So it's kind of worked.
It was actually the last round. It's funny. I'm not going to name drop or say who, but I got asked a question, is there team tactics? And I was like, no, not at all. And then she asked me, she goes, so do you have any team orders from Mitch at all? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, what's that? And I said, it's to win.
Yeah.
That's my team orders, that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's what it was. Obviously, you get the people that they know everything and know exactly what everyone's plan is. And they know exactly how to race Supercross too, from Instagram. And they're like, that I went to Salt Lake with the plan to erupt or to ruin Dylan's championship. And I'm like, come on.
Dude.
I truly respect Dylan a lot. Just because going to a different country and the way he's come to the US and the way he races, dude, he wants to win so bad. And so do I. And even after those few issues, few things that we had, he didn't come off the track freaking out, throwing his hands up because he knows he dishes it out,
Well, he knows that when you're all in, things happen a little bit.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and he obviously wasn't stoked. But at the end of the day, the way he races, he wants to win. I respect him as a racer, and we're all out there to do the same thing. But by no means was I trying to, you do anything to a title contender. I was so far to the title. I'm not trying to do that. If Austin was going to win the title, he was going to win it and he was looking like there was a very good chance of it. Man, he was riding so good.
He had a good run there, man. You did too. Like I said, there's some things I'm sure you would love to have back, whatever. But overall, the writing's on the wall, dude. The speed is there, the improvement is there, and if you just look at the projection, if you fast forward a year, dude, you're winning races next year. I mean, that's got to be where your mindset is, and I know you believe it, and I think everyone else is starting to get on board and realize that that's probably coming next year.
Yeah, that's where we want to be, and I mean there's so many steps to the process, and that's what I'm really enjoying right now at this point. I've got such a good group of people in my corner. Hiring Nick Way this year was probably one of the when the first thought of that came about, I was that's probably not even going to be a thing. He's exclusive to Adam. There's no chance. And I just reached out to him and he was like, yeah, I've watched you the last few years and I'd be pretty motivated to work with you. And I think Adam would be too. And so the way that came about and being able to, Adam just won on this bike and has had a huge pass with Mitch and Mitch trusts Nick a ton. I trust him a ton. I respect Nick a crazy amount. So it's so good to have him in my corner because not only is he there to, first off, he's not there to collect a paycheck. He's not, and he wants the best for me as a person and as a racer.
Yep.
So he wants to teach me how to ride a motorcycle better and be a better person. And that's the type of people I want in my corner for, longevity and just helping me realize the process of what it takes to actually win the race.
Right. It's more than just speed and going for it. There's other pieces, and that's what you're going to get from Nick and from Adam for sure.
Yep.
Well, Cameron, thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it. Again, I love your story, and keep charging, keep ramming it, bro. The wins are coming. They're coming next year.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it.
Good luck this summer if it happens.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Later.
Thanks. Bye.
Main event, Moto. Screw it. You know it by now.